How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sean Barnes. I want to welcome you back to The Way of the Wolf. I was on a coaching call the other day, and a question was asked of me. It took me a little bit by surprise, but after processing it and thinking through it, I realized that there are probably a lot of people out there that are struggling with this exact question. So I decided to fire up the camera and mic and record my thoughts on this. And the question was, is this all I'm going to do with my life? Is this all I'm going to do is be this person, this particular manager over this function? I've been coaching this person for about a year now, roughly, maybe a little bit more. And I've seen a tremendous amount of progress in her ability to execute and lead and build relationships with people in the business. It's been very impressive to watch this occur. But sometimes as we grow, as we embark on this journey of becoming a better version of ourselves and try to focus on growing our career, we can have these peaks and valleys. And sometimes we maybe aren't progressing quite at the rate that we think we should be. Or we end up taking 3 to 4 steps forward and then maybe 1 or 2 steps back. And then it kind of demoralizes us a little bit. But it's important to never lose sight of the progress that you have made to date. To always be appreciative of where you are at and the opportunities that you have been presented. Now, this particular person has been in this functional domain for about 20 years, just to kind of give you a little bit more color around the question and the environment. And I started thinking more about this, and I think my response was, okay, well, is it all you want it to be? Do you want to grow and do more and branch out and be responsible for more? It doesn't have to be all you ever do. Growth is not easy. Branching out and getting out of your comfort zone is not easy. So if you find yourself in the same job year after year after year after decade, maybe it's time to start doing something a little bit different, getting out of that comfort zone. So I'm going to share my thoughts and guidance on really what worked well for me. And I think it will be helpful for all of you just to get a little bit of exposure and hear my thoughts on this. So here we go. The first thing that I did whenever I encountered this part of my journey where I kind of stalled out or felt like I was stalling out in my career was to start branching out and having conversations with other people in the business. Start having conversations with leaders that were responsible for other functional domains in the business and just asking their perspective. Like, hey, I've been doing this for about 15 years now and kind of getting a little bit bored. Would really like to explore doing other things. What are your thoughts? This works on a few different levels because when you go to somebody asking for guidance and you put yourself in this very vulnerable state, it opens them up where they're going to be more likely to trust you. So that's going to be the first thing. You're going to be able to strengthen relationships with other people in the business. And they don't even have to be at your same company. It can be just friends, peers, colleagues, people that are in your network that maybe you go have lunch with occasionally. But getting their perspective, that will help strengthen your network and also just get different perspectives from people. The next thing you can then focus on is asking if you can help others with projects that they are working on or things that they're trying to get across the finish line. Now, you have to be very cautious here. You have to make sure that you are still doing your duty, your job, taking care of your responsibilities, and you have all of your stuff locked down. You can't start branching out and doing other stuff if your own house is a mess. So I would caution all of you on that. Make sure to have your own house in order before you start branching out and trying to do things with other teams and other functional domains in the business. Once you start doing this and are able to successfully help others with projects that they were working on, knowing that you're probably not going to get a raise, you're probably not going to get any sort of a bonus, but what you are getting is experience. What you are doing is building a brand and reputation for delivering results. If you continue down that path, what will happen is word will get out and people will start to recognize, man, Sean isn't even responsible for this, but he's helping over here. Oh, that's crazy. He's actually helping me over here. And people in the business talk. And they will start to understand, man, this guy, he's got his own house in order. He's helping this team with this. He's helping this team with this. And this flywheel effect will start to occur. It's a ton of work on the front end. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight. But as you start helping other teams in other areas of the business, you'll build that brand and reputation for delivering results. You will also start to have a more holistic understanding of the business, of what's going on. Again, that becomes a flywheel or snowball effect, because the more you understand about the broader organization, the more effective and efficient you will be. And the more people will come to you for guidance and help. And eventually you will reach a tipping point where you no longer have to seek others out to try to help them or ask if you can help them on projects. The tables will turn and they will start seeking you out. And that's the sweet spot, because then it puts you in this incredible position where you can pick and choose the things that excite you and start focusing on other areas. And again, start getting exposure and opportunities to go into other areas and other domains that you're just not used to working in. So very kind of simplistic approach to it. Really what it all comes down to is don't be afraid to ask others if you can help. Don't go into it expecting some sort of a bonus or anything like that. You go into it with the expectation that I'm going to help this team and I'm going to learn and I'm going to help them be successful in the process. Once you start to espouse that philosophy, people will notice. And eventually, people will start coming to you. And the next time a manager or director or VP level role opens up or becomes available, the business leaders are going to know who to go to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for this topic today. Thank you so much for listening, and y'all have a good one.